Share something with you and how connecting, inshallah, how sharing and caring is important. Last week, Saturday, a little real story. Someone texted me on WhatsApp, and I just got the text, and I was like, all right, who is this? I don't know this number. And the person said, and I don't know if he's looking at this on television right now because it's broadcasted worldwide. He says, I am Dave. I said, which Dave? He said, I'm the son of one of your students. I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 41 years old. So it's a brother, 41 years. Texted me Saturday. He said, someone gave me your number, and I've always wanted to get your number. And I want to share something with you. He said, my father, before he died, now his father was older than me, maybe 10, 15 years older than me, when I went back to Trinidad and started giving dawah and spreading the deen bi'idhnillah. He said, my father, before he died, in his last days, he was just only speaking about you and how you never gave up with him. See the connect? He said you always kept on coming and visiting him. Now this was a guy, strange guy. This man, he did it all. You know when you call a little gringo? He did it all. Womanized, drunk, the whole 9 yards. So when I qualified, alhamdulillah, and went back to Trinidad, I used to go by his home very regular for a couple of years to try to get him to come to the mosque, to try to get him to come in Islam. He said, listen, you Muslims never did nothing for me. You see my house? You see my car? You see all this that I have? No Muslim gave that to me. I worked for that. And he was very arrogant. He was this kind of guy. He was known in town. He would beat anybody. He would fight with anybody. He would curse anybody. And he used to run us, literally. I'll be honest with you. I never went alone because I was scared he'd probably insult me even worse than chasing me away. But you know what? Now his son is telling me last week on text, found my number that somebody gave to him. He said, my father, last days before he died, he kept on saying that Sheikh Shafayat never gave up on me. He came. And all I got rid of him, he never gave up on me. And those were his days. Those were his last days. And you know what happened to that brother? Oh Allah, you won't believe. He finally one day came to the masjid. You know, Brother Abdul Salam, that's why tabligh, you go to people. Don't give up. Continue going. Doesn't matter what they do. There was a guy who used to drink. Everything haram you think about, he was in that business. All right? One day he came to the masjid, and that was it. No turning back. The brother finally started praying salah. He started coming for classes. He started reading Quran, learning to read Quran. This is a big man, eh? He was about 40 years old then. Now I'm speaking to his 40-year son 1 week ago on text. This brother started, this man's father started learning Quran. He learned and he practiced and he prayed until he became, Brother Azad, the Imam of the masjid. Oh yeah, I'm not just telling you a brother who came into Islam and just learned. He became the Imam of the masjid. In the class that I had, he superseded everybody. Yeah. His name is Brother Rajali, and I will share it publicly. And not only did he become the Imam of the masjid, do you know what he did? Allahu Akbar. As he got more into the deen, the masjid that it had there, that mosque, he rebuilt that mosque alone. You don't find many doctors and lawyers and millionaires in America doing that. Praying salah, reading Quran, 10 Hajj and 40 Hajj. Here's a man who came from woman, wine, and everything else put together. He built a masjid alone. If you want, you could go to Trinidad and Gasparilla and see it. It's still there. Big masjid. His own money. His own time. His own effort. If anyone gave anything, he said, Alhamdulillah. But he did it himself with all his money and all his time and all his efforts. He wouldn't know about learning to just be an imam, to talk and lecture for show business. Allah blessed him, that his children ended up following into that path. And today his son texted me last week to say, and you know, whenever I listen to your audios, those were the days we did audio. He said, when I listen to your Quranic recitation, I only cry. And you know that had me crying last week. I became very emotional. Okay, he's telling me, I still have your audios and your recitation. He said, I cry because whenever I hear your voice and your recitation, I remember my father. And I remember how my father will always tell me that he would not have come into this deen. It is by the hidayah of Allah. But because I kept on connecting with him, and I'm saying this because of the connection, Brother Azad, I kept on connecting. I never gave up, even though he chased me. Many times he chased me, insulted me and abused me. And his son is telling me, it took 40 years after his son is telling me that. His son was a little boy, 5-6 years, so he has no clue what happened with me and his dad. He said, now when I hear you read Quran, I cry because I hear my father, because he used to read like you. And last thing I want to share with you is a long, interesting story. But he also told me, he said, please, whenever you visit Trinidad, I want you to visit my 2 little sons. Please, could you do me that favor? When I asked him why, you know why? He said, my father never had the opportunity to see my children. And at least if you see my children, I'll feel like my father has seen my children. You see this connection, the Quran, the deen has brought a family connected after 40 years. I'm hearing this. So brothers and sisters, you do good for somebody. You help someone in the deen, whatever it takes. However, that can take 40 years after. You will see the results. And Allah will give you the blessings and the good in this world and the good in the hereafter, inshallah. Let these radical imams brainwash some of us. We come here, we sit, we sleep in khutbahs, we don't get the message, that's why we miss it. He says, all I need you to be grateful. Allah Akbar. Are you telling me Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not protect the prestige of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Only living for business. That's all our dream. Let me see who shall save you now.